Hello, my name is Roberto and I'm working in the Biocidal Products unit. I would like to welcome to the webinar of today, Get Ready for the Transition of SPC into Euclid, which will involve 3 presentations. One from myself, well, I will introduce you to the features of the SPC solution. Then Dorota will introduce you to the Euclid functionalities that have been prepared for the SPC solution. And finally, Heidi will give you an overview of the supporting material. Today we have also a Q&A session. You can see here the code to join. There will be time after the webinar to send your questions until the 29th of February. Obviously, we are happy to reply to any question in scope of our webinar. And in case you had other questions, you may use the contact form that is reported in this slide. There will be, of course, material available after the presentation, video recording, presentations, and also the Q&A transcript. I would now like to start with the first presentation, the SPC solution introduction. And actually, this is the news of today's webinar, so that the SPC dedicated interface in Euclid is now available for use. As you know, the SPC stands for Summary of Product Characteristics, and it is a mandatory document for biocidal product authorizations. In the past, they were prepared with the SPC Editor, but now from 12th of February of this year, they must be prepared in Euclid. Consequently, there will be no more access to the SPC Editor after this. SPC in Euclid can be accessed by both industry and authorities. You may use it with the downloaded version of Euclid 6 in your laptop, or with an ECA account you may access in ECA Cloud Services. Let's now move to a description on which are the main features of the SPC in Euclid solution. First of all, we made sure that the content that is expected to be introduced in Euclid is the same as it used to be in the past in the SPC Editor. For this reason, we set up a dedicated Euclid interface for single products, but also for product families. There will be a number of validation rules that have been designed in order to make sure that the completeness and the consistency of the content is preserved, as it used to be with the SPC Editor in the past. It will be possible to translate the SPCs that are prepared in Euclid. There are functionalities that allow translation of the format and also of the language version into the applications that you would need to do in R4BP3. It is also possible by using the annotation function of Euclid to introduce comments to your SPC. This is also replacing the comments that were available in the old SPC Editor. And finally, there are a number of plugins that are available in order to enable comparison of SPCs created in Euclid, and this is available through the comparison tool. And there is also a report generator in Euclid, which allows you to create SPCs in Word and in PDF. And now it comes to the other side of the SPC solution in Euclid, which is the receiving submission tool, which is expecting to have an upload of SPCs. This is the submission tool for biocides, R4BP3. Obviously, we have changed the format of one of the most important documents that have to be uploaded in R4BP3, the SPC, for every application of products authorizations. And so what has changed in R4BP3? Only the format. So one of the main principles and approaches of the solution was to make sure that the user experience in R4BP3 could be unchanged. And this to facilitate this transition, which we understand is challenging, but it will be beneficial for our work. For this reason, R4BP3 has maintained the same workflows, no change on that. You will see that SPCs will have to be uploaded or downloaded in the same places, in cases, and in assets or tasks as before, through pushing the same buttons that were exactly in the same place. The only difference is that instead of seeing SPC in XML, you will see SPC in I6Z. Dissemination has also been preserved, and the dissemination will not require more changes. So essentially, as said, the changes to R4BP3 are very limited. What happens to the SPCs which were already in ongoing cases in R4BP3 or in assets? Well, we have automatically migrated all of them in a way that if you go to the case that you are engaged with, you will be able to click and download the files directly without any need of transition, migration, or update. It is already ready for use for the next steps of your processes. There are exceptions. In fact, as you know, SPCs can also be exchanged through messages or ad hoc communications in R4BP3. Well, the SPCs which are attached to those files cannot be immediately opened, but they have to be uploaded into Euclid in order to be read. So they have not been migrated. However, as I just described, this is a ready-to-use solution in order to open your data in Euclid and continue your work with the SPCs which are there. Finally, this is a visual example that you can see in the slide, how to get to the point where you may download the migrated SPC. You need to either open the case or a task and search for this component, which you see in this screenshot, which is the same for case, task, or also assets. You may click on the relevant button, and you would be able to download the I6Z file or download the PDF or Word version in every language that is required for your application. That was it from my side. Thank you very much. And now I pass the floor to my colleague Dorota.
Hello, my name is Dorota Burchardt-Sosnowska. I work in Euclid team in ECA. I will present for you outline of Euclid functionalities for the SPC. Euclid is the International Uniform Chemical Information Database, which is a tool to record, store, and maintain data on intrinsic and hazard properties of chemical substances for different regulatory purposes. In the European Union, we use it for different legislation, such as REACH, CLP, or plant protection products. The Euclid is used also in Australia and in New Zealand, and we discuss with other countries about use of Euclid, and we also plan to insert to Euclid other legislations. Let me tell you a few words about history of use of Euclid for biocides. In 2000, Euclid was the software prescribed in EU Biocidal Directive to notify existing active substances. Then, in 2013, Biocidal Products Regulation came into force, and its Article 79 ensures that all scientific data related to registered biocides are stored in Euclid. Since then, Euclid has been used to manage biocides data for biocidal product authorization and active substance application. Now there is a time to include in Euclid also SPC dossier. So 2024 Euclid is used to prepare an SPC dossier. What does the Euclid user interface for SPC look like? When a user selects a word in context, BPR, Summary of Product Characteristics, the list of sections relevant to SPC is displayed in the table of contents on the left side of the user interface. Each section can be expanded to show relevant subsections or documents to be filled with data. Here is the example of the section Manufacturers of the Product that contains a subsection Location of Manufacturing Sites, and also example of hazard and precautionary statements that contains just the document to be filled in. Documents open on the right side can be filled, saved, and edited. Here is the example of document containing general directions for use. Same working context is used to store data for a single product and for a product family. The table of contents for product family contains more documents. The main difference is in the section Family Meta SPC and Product, where family contains documents for the whole family, all meta SPCs, and all products. All the documents are linked to each other. Let me now show you functionalities in Euclid that will be used for SPC. First, translation of the user interface. The default language of Euclid is English, but you can change this language in the dashboard, for example for Bulgarian, and then, if you do so, the labels and the drop-down menus in Euclid will be displayed in the selected language. There are also two functionalities that help you to provide a complete and consistent SPC dossier. Mandatory fields. So, if the user left the field which is mandatory empty, the document cannot be saved. And the second one, validation. Validation assistance can be run on the dataset or dossier, and the report is produced that lists all the things that should be completed or corrected. Here is an example. I didn't insert in the dataset data on manufacturer of the product, and in the report I received a message. At least one complete manufacturer of the product must be provided. When the user finish ending the data, can log the data for addition, so need to prepare a dossier. Dossier is a snapshot of scientific and administrative information created at some point of the time, and dossier is a document that you will submit later on to R4BP. So the icon padlock shows the data is closed for addition. If it happens that, for example, authority needs to extract those data and provide some modification, there is a possibility to extract, again, editable dataset from the dossier. Industry users do not need to do that because they have the dataset, original dataset, in their database. In Euclid, we clearly mark the distinction between dataset and dossier. This is done by two buttons that can be highlighted in blue, and user knows immediately if the list of the product is editable dataset or not editable dossiers. Another important functionality is the possibility to create SPC documents with the tool called Report Generator. It is done in Euclid for both single product or for a product family. The reports are created in two formats: RTF, compatible with Microsoft Word or OpenOffice, for example, and PDF. The structure of the document is well known to you, as it was in the SPC Editor. Generated reports can be also translated. This is done by selecting the language in the dedicated part of the dataset called a dossier header. When the language other than English is specified, the report is generated in the selected language. When the dossier is completed and ready, the user needs to export it as a i6z file. This is the file that will be submitted to R4BP. User has also possibility to compare two SPC versions, both dataset or dossiers, and also to compare selected documents. After the comparison is run, the comparison report is produced. Here you can see the example of document comparison report for use document. So you can see that in the source document, the name of the document was different and also field of use changed. There are different IUCLID distributions: desktop, server, and cloud. Desktop is a single machine with no network connection. Multiple users are allowed, but only one user can work at a time. Database integrated into IUCLID application. And this distribution is targeted to small and medium-sized companies. Then we have server. In this distribution, IUCLID runs in the application server over a network. The multiple users are allowed and can work at the same time. Access restricted per document, per user, and per groups of users, and this is done by the server administrator. And this distribution is targeted to large organizations. And finally, the cloud. No installation or maintenance is needed. ECA keeps system updated with latest version available. Backups and data migration are done by ECA. You can work in this distribution for anywhere, and this is free of charge. So as you can see, there are different options, but cloud is recommended as best solution to replace SPC Editor. If you would like to have more information which version of IUCLID is best for you, you can go to the IUCLID website, link is given in the slide, to learn more. Version of IUCLID 7.12.4 of IUCLID 6, the one that was published on 5th of February, is available in each distribution. And this is the version we recommend you to use to prepare your SPC. Now I would like to summarize what is the workflow to SPC creation with IUCLID. The first step, you use IUCLID to enter SPC data in a dataset. The most important thing is to use dedicated working context, which is BPR, Summary of Product Characteristics, SPC. Then you validated inserted data for completeness and consistency. And if you have any errors, you can fix them. Then the next step, you create a dossier, so not editable data, and visualized the SPC report. Finally, you export your dossier as i6z file and you submit it to a R4BP3. In the autumn, we were providing you with training sessions, and the materials used for the training sessions for applicants are stored on the IUCLID website. We recommend you to see those materials because it must be helpful when you start to work with IUCLID and when you start to prepare the documents. So what is provided for you on the IUCLID website? You will find there the presentation, which is an introduction to IUCLID, and this presentation contains a description of all IUCLID functionalities that might be used when preparing the SPC, and those are shown in much more details than in my presentation today. Then you will find exercises and the Euclid files needed to do those exercises. We also provide the links to recordings of the solution for each exercise. Also, during the training, we have a long Q&A session, and the Q&A document is published under the training material on the website. My colleague Heidi will provide you with more information on support materials. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Heidi Pihol. I am from ECHA submissions team, and I will give you today an overview how to find and seek support from ECHA in regard Euclid, SPC to Euclid. So, to start with, we should navigate on ECHA welcome page to support page. ECHA support landing page is serving as a gateway for different kind of supports, either regulatory or technical support. Here we find access point to user manuals, questions and answers, and we can submit our question to ECHA help desk using ECHA contact forms. In order to access submission manuals, we have to click on R4PP icon on ECHA landing page. We will be redirected to R4PP welcome page, where on the left side menu we see link to biocide submission manuals. On biocide submission manuals, we have technical guides, application instructions that give us guidance for submissions, and other process manuals like giving overview about invoicing and this kind of things. As SPCs are to be created now in Euclid format, the instructions can be found in the technical guide how to prepare a biocides dossier. More precisely, the instructions start in section 4.2. How to find standard questions and answers. For that, you need to click on the support landing page on search for Q&As. We call them questions and answers. There we will see the whole list of questions and answers, but we would like to specify and narrow down our search list to biocides and SPC. Please select from drop-down list PPR and SPC. Then you are listed with standard questions and answers, which will provide you, which refer to basic Euclid functionalities, how to use Euclid for different PPR processes, and explanation to the most common validation errors and how they are linked to R4PP3. How to contact ECHA for dedicated support. Then you need to click on technical support on ECHA support landing page. On the next page, you have to click on R4PP3, and then you need to define your request type. For that, please select from drop-down list SPC Euclid. More precise, you are able to describe your problem or issue you are encountering with. Faster, the ECHA can provide you the response. So these were the access points to ECA support materials in regard to SPC in Euclid format. Thank you very much. So the key takeaways from today's webinar would be that please go ahead and benefit from Euclid standard functionalities, seek for support, and ECA will support you. And remember, the most important, submit SPCs in Euclid format. From organizational point of view, please join our Q&A at slido.com. The event code is SPC 2024. You can send questions until 29 February. We continue to reply after the webinar. And if you have any other questions, please contact us via ECA contact forms. You will see on the slide the address of the contact form. The materials of the webinar will be available on ECA webinars page. You will find their video recording, presentations, and questions and answers soon after the event. Thank you very much.